Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet here on the call, wishing everyone out there a happy new year, wrapping up week number 1 here in 2023, and we are back after the holidays with our first edition of Scarlet Hawks athletics here for the new year. Tonight it is the Milford varsity boys basketball team here at home taking on the North Attleboro Rocketeers. The Scarlet Hawks come into this matchup at 500 on the season at 3-3. North Attleboro still in search of their first victory of the young season. They are 0-4. And without further ado, game action underway here in the Milford gym. A good crowd here on hand. Two very good sub-varsity games leading the way for this varsity action tonight. Just on the heels of a convincing victory for the junior varsity team, who has looked very good so far on the season. This varsity team now looking to follow suit, and a nice start to the night on the opening possession as Luca Testa drops in a 3. Testa has been very valuable to this team through this early part of the season. Attleboro down low, missing their first look of the night. And this ball is going to come back now to the Scarlet Hawks. Milford very much hoping for a better start to this game here tonight than when we last had an opportunity to cover this team in action just before the holidays. That was in a home matchup against the Sharon Eagles. A dreadful start to that game as Milford scored just about 2 points, I believe, in the first quarter, dug themselves an early hole. But already now they have 5 in this opening minute as Andrew Rivera cuts to the basket. And so a much better start here already. It is still a very young starting 5 for the Scarlet Hawks. One upperclassman in the starting 5. That is junior Nick Arujo. Other than that, it is sophomores in Andrew Rivera, Tyler Ballard, and Luca Testa, and the freshman CJ Farrell. That is your Scarlet Hawks starting 5. Another miss here for North. And the ball once again coming back Milford's way. The starting 5 for the Rocketeers is Aiden Delaney, Ryan Bannon, Johnny Obachowski, Chase Frizzoli, and Giovanni Carney. A couple of familiar names there from the football team for North Attleboro that matched up very well with Milford in a tough game back during the fall season. Our first foul of the game coming here. That will send Rivera to the line. The foul called on North Attleboro's Chase Frizzoli. North has been in some close games so far on the year, but they have yet to come up on the winning side. And one of the things that we continued to hear going into the season was that a lot of the basketball teams in the Hockomock League were going through some big changes at the varsity level, losing a lot of players from a season ago, and perhaps that is the situation going on here for North Attleboro as they look to settle into the season with some new personnel. 2 successful free throws for Andrew Rivera gives Milford a 7-0 run to start this game, still in the opening minutes of this first quarter. North trying to force the issue inside with Ryan Bannon, but he gets stripped. And now here comes Farrell the other way. And the pass to the corner. Rivera passing up the shot and back up top to Farrell. Now finding Testa on the far wing. Back outside now. Rivera releases the 3, no good. But there is the freshman, CJ Farrell, to fight for the rebound. He puts it back, and Milford extends this run. A very good start to the night for Milford with still 5:57 on this first quarter clock. And North that time left all alone under the basket. And Aiden Delaney is able to end Milford's run at 9-0. Farrell with ball handling duties, dishes off to the sophomore, and that is a duo that I think is starting to garner a lot of excitement amongst these Milford fans at what the future will be like. And in many ways, that future is now with the contributions of the sophomore Rivera and the freshman Farrell through these early games of the season. That's a duo that should be logging a lot of minutes here on this Milford hardwood in the years to come. Still a 9-2 score, 5:19 to go in the quarter. Milford goes back to the free throw line. Foul called on Giovanni Carney. It's his first. And the miss for Luca Testa on his first free throw attempt of the night. The head coach for the North Attleboro Rocketeers is Sean Mulcurrens. Testa making that second free throw to give Milford an even 10 points so far on the night. Milford able to wrestle away that inbounds pass, but Farrell misses a wide open look. Now a nice bounce pass up ahead to give North Attleboro a good look the other way. And eventually the foul is called. Had a chance to check in with Coach Seaver prior to this game. And this is a Milford team still battling through injuries. That is part of the reason that we've seen so much playing time for these underclassmen. Jacob Lagore has still not suited up yet this season, hoping to work his way back at some point as he recovers from injuries from the football season. Same for Anthony Maeda. And there is CJ Farrell, I beg your pardon, Luca Testa intercepting that pass. And then a little step back floater drops in for Testa. And Luca now is up to 6 points in this first quarter. Milford with a double-digit lead, and a timeout is called here with 4 minutes and 44 seconds to go. So that'll give us a chance to dig a little deeper into the latest report that we have gotten on this team. That came courtesy of Coach Seaver leading into the matchup. So as I mentioned, Jacob Lagore and Anthony Maeda still looking to get the medical clearance to get themselves into game action at some point this season. Not ready to be back in the mix today. Ryan Franklin, meanwhile, who has made a big splash in his first varsity action this year, he's only been able to make it into 2 games so far on the season. He did unfortunately suffer an injury in that game against Sharon that we covered back on December the 20th. There was a possibility he would be cleared to play today. We did not have a chance to check in right before game time, so we'll see if Ryan gets into game action here today. Similar story for Gus Catino, who has been out for the last couple of games with injury. It looks like he will get the go-ahead to come off the bench here tonight. And so that's some of the injury update on this team. Again, it has been a lot of injuries piling up on the early part of the season, but if this team does get fully healthy as the season goes on, and they can stay afloat in the meantime, it would certainly be a big difference maker for this club down the stretch. We'll get our first free throws for the Rocketeers on the night after a foul is called against Nick Arujo. So for Nick, that is already 2 fouls here in the first quarter. We'll get some substitutions on the floor. Wyatt Zagami checking in for the first time. Jake Soares also out onto the floor for the Scarlet Hawks with 4:27 to go. Aiden Delaney knocking down both of those free throws. He has all 4 of North Attleboro's points in this first quarter. 12-4 the Milford lead. Milford would love to get Wyatt Zagami's outside shooting activated here in this game. He just was really never able to get into the flow of the game when we covered the action against Sharon back in December. Can't get free for a shot there. Shot clock starting to wind down for Milford. And they kick it back out. And the shot rims out for Tyler Ballard. But Milford able to get it back. I believe that was Testa with 2 more points, who has really taken over in this first quarter, and Milford reestablishes the 10-point lead. North Attleboro able to answer back as Delaney continues to have success. (14-6) with a little over 3 minutes to play in the first. Here's Soares now giving way to Zagami. He will let one fly from 3-point range. It's no good. May have been Chris Hanowich who had that last bucket for North Attleboro. The score Remaining 14-6. Both teams getting some of their bench activated here in the first quarter. Now they go back to Delaney. Couldn't quite get the elevation underneath the basket. Milford quickly ahead in transition. Ball up for grabs. Zagami couldn't pull it down. Here's North Attleboro in transition. North trying for the scoop and score, but it's been tough going under the basket for the Rocketeers so far tonight. Now Zagami loses his footing, able to get back into play. North heaving up a shot, courtesy of Ryan Bannon, that's off the mark. Just over 2 minutes now to go in the first quarter as Coach Seaver is active as always on the sidelines. In the corner now for Testa. That ball looked good but does not go down. And there to clean it up is the big body of Joey Buckley. Buckley, the tallest member of the Scarlet Hawks team at 6'5". And from the corner, that ball kicks off the top of the backboard and into the waiting hands of Soares for the defensive rebound. Rivera back out there on the floor. Testa gets stripped. And the feed a little bit too hot for Kearney to handle. That ball goes out of play and back to Milford with 94 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. Student section continues to grow. The jungle here once again, enjoying some regular season boys basketball action. Here's Buckley, and he's going to get called for the travel. Had a little bit of trouble securing that ball underneath the rim. The students have remained standing here throughout this first quarter, but a lot of other fans enjoying the action here so far tonight. A much better start for Milford here tonight than what we saw back before the holiday break. And another steal here for Milford. Here is Rivera going coast to coast, and that ball will not go down. Took about 3 rolls around the rim, but would not go in for Rivera. Now again, Milford pokes the ball free. Here's Soares up ahead. Uses the bounce pass to get ahead to Testa. And Testa with a tough angle shot. It doesn't go. 10-point lead for Milford as again North Attleboro turns it over. 3 straight trips up the floor with a turnover for North, but a nice block in the paint. And now North Attleboro called for a travel, so that is 4 straight trips up the floor, resulting in a turnover for North. And that gives Milford possession back with 26.7 seconds to go. The shot clock turned off. Now that 35-second shot clock. Coach Seaver calling out the play from the sideline as C.J. Farrell back on the floor takes this ball over half court. Testa now leaves it in the corner for Farrell. Under 10 seconds to play in the quarter. Zagami thinks about the shot, tries to force his way inside. Now able to kick it back out to Farrell for 3. No good. Testa flies in, and he puts it down just before the buzzer. And Luca Testa finishes off a very solid opening quarter for Milford. Luca with 10 points in that first quarter, and Milford takes an 18-6 lead on the North Attleboro Rocketeers. Excellent to start the night here for Milford. We'll take a quick pause here on the live streaming coverage. The second quarter will begin in just a moment. Stay with us here on Milford TV. very quickly back to action here in the Milford gym. Second quarter underway. Tim Coet here on the call along with an excellent Milford TV crew. The Scarlet Hawks with an 18-6 start to this game. North unleashing a 3 on their first shot of the second quarter. A lot of missed shots here so far in the first half for North. Their offense has not looked particularly comfortable. Milford's played a good brand of defense. They've created a lot of turnovers. And meanwhile, it is Andrew Rivera once again forcing the action. He's up to 6 points now in the half. It has been Testa and Rivera once again, the top two scorers on the team. That has started to become a pattern with this group. Foul will pause the clock at 7:08. 4 team fouls for Milford, 3 for North Attleboro. Most recent foul just called on Jake Soares, his first of the night. Anowich with the feed down low. Milford, good defense. Now it's Carney. He turns around, uses the glass, and gets 2. Milford with Soares, Rivera, Zagami, Testa, and Buckley, the 5 on the floor. Zagami can't cut his way to the basket. Buckley with the jumper, rattles around but does not go down. Joey Buckley with a pretty sizable brace on that right knee. Now here's Carney again. Nice touch to the rim, and that's back-to-back buckets now for Giovanni Carney to cut it to a 10-point lead. CJ Farrell perched at the scorer's table waiting to check back in as Testa overcooks a 3-pointer. Carney again going coast to coast, and right now Giovanni Carney all of a sudden getting very comfortable in a short period of time. He has 6 points all in this second quarter. Now Testa passes up the look from 3, sends that pass into traffic. Now Milford in a scrum for the loose ball, but it's North Attleboro who secures. And right now, transition giving North Attleboro a lot of success. That time, they can't get the bucket. And now Rivera finds Zagami, and Zagami is going to get fouled. It's been a 6-2 start to this second quarter for North Attleboro to start to chew into the Milford lead. Zagami at the line after the foul was called on Giovanni Carney, who now has 2 fouls. Make and a miss for Zagami. 21-12 the score as we tick down to 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Now Delaney has his shot attempt knocked out of bounds. And Coach Seaver now is going to call the timeout. So for Milford, 500 on the season, but they are in search of their first victory against Hockomock League competition this season. Against non-league teams, Milford has had a lot of success. They opened the season with a 60-55 victory over non-conference Barnstable. And then over the holidays, they had the second annual Scarlet Hawk Holiday Invitational, in which Milford was able to earn victories over Assabet Valley and Uxbridge to win that tournament. And it was a couple of dominating performances in that tournament for Milford. dropping 90 points on Assabet Valley in a 90-31 victory. And then in the finale of that tournament against Uxbridge, it was a 71-49 victory. So Milford has been well up over 60 points in a lot of those non-conference games, but in their 3 games against Hockomock League teams so far on the season, they suffered a 60-53 loss to Foxborough back on December 13th, then a 63-55 loss on the road to the Attleboro Bombardiers on December 16th, and then of course that game against Sharon that we had covered for you back on December 20th. Milford with a dreadful start to the night, could not climb out of an early hole, and ended up dropping that game to the Eagles 71-54. So hoping that this game will be the start of better things in league play, but right out of the timeout, Milford surrenders a 3-pointer. I believe that was Obachowski with the 3. They're going to call the foul on Chase Frizzoli. He now has 2 fouls. 4:36 to play. Milford came into this second quarter with a 12-point lead. It has been cut in half. And meanwhile, Milford getting a boost. So there is Gus Catino off the bench, returning after injury, and knocks down a 3. Milford needed that. And now North will look to follow suit. That shot rims out for Austin Clemente. Now Rivera, as both teams try to heat up from beyond the arc, Rivera misses that shot. And North Attleboro taking that ball ahead with Frizzoli. He couldn't make the shot, but the Rocketeers keep the possession going. Now Frizzoli from the corner. That shot is short. Out of the corner, briefly into the hands of Jack Buckley. Pair of Buckleys on the floor right now for the Scarlet Hawks. There is C.J. Farrell with an athletic rebound. Could not make the putback shot, and now North Attleboro trying for the long feed up the floor in the direction of Frizzoli, but it's out of his reach. Joey Buckley now to the sidelines as Milford inbounds with 3:09 left in the first half, leading 24-15. Buckley in some trouble, kicks it back out. Catino keeps it alive. Now on the perimeter for Farrell, knocks down a 3. 5 points now in the half for C.J. Farrell. Now contesting out on the perimeter. Less than 2.5 minutes to go into the hands of Chris Hanowich. And now back to Kearney, whose early run in this quarter breathed some new life into the Rocketeers. Misses that shot. Farrell gets out of trouble along the far sideline. Catino hands it right back. Now Rivera out on the far wing. Bounce pass outside to Catino. He cuts in, gets a couple of defenders to leave their feet. Had a pretty decent look, but couldn't knock it down. And a foul on the back end of the play. They'll call it against Jack Buckley. Derek Maceda taking the ball up the floor for the Rocketeers. Been a pretty fast-moving half. Good work around the perimeter. Hanowich loses it, and Milford comes away Maybe a few too many passes there in transition. The ball comes loose and ends up in the hands of Giovanni Carney. Now Hanowich slows things down. Carney will take the long three-point attempt and drains it. 9 points in the second quarter now for Giovanni Carney. Back to a 9-point Milford lead with less than a minute to go until halftime. Soares now will release from three. He knocks down a deep three-pointer. A shooting gallery here inside of the final minute of the first half. Milford now up to 30 points. The lead is 12. Coach Seaver wanting a committed defensive effort here right down to the buzzer. And a good play there for Milford. Getting the jump ball call. That possession arrow was pointing Milford's way, so it'll be Zagami to inbound. The shot clock now turned off with 28.5 seconds remaining. Zagami, Farrell, Rivera, Soares, and Coutinho, the five on the floor for the Scarlet Hawks. Milford taking their time as Farrell and Rivera go back and forth. Now down to 10 seconds. Rivera the feed to Soares. Now they kick it to the corner for a look for Coutinho. It's no good. Rivera flies in for the rebound. North comes away with it. The shot from about 3/4 of the way up the floor from Ryan Bannon came dangerously close, but it does not go in. And instead, Milford will head to the locker rooms with a 30-18 lead. So a pretty consistent effort through 2 quarters for the Scarlet Hawks, and a nice lead at the close of 2 quarters of play. We'll see travel team action for Milford here during halftime, so we'll pull our camera out wide so you can enjoy that action. And for anyone joining us on our live stream for tonight's game, we will pause our commentary for halftime, and we'll be back to pick up the action in the 3rd quarter in maybe a little more than 10 minutes from now. So hang tight with the coverage, and we'll be back with second half action next here on Milford TV. Welcome back, everybody, inside the Milford gym. Time to get the second half started in this varsity boys basketball matchup between your Milford Scarlet Hawks and the visiting North Attleboro Rocketeers. Milford enjoying a 30-18 lead. The teams drew level in that second quarter, both teams with 12 points apiece. And so it's been 12-point leads for Milford at the close of both the first and second quarters. Luca Testa is your leading scorer in this game with 10 points. Giovanni Carney, who just went up for that bucket, got knocked down hard by the Scarlet Hawks. He is the leading scorer on the North Attleboro side with 9 points, and he will go to the line after the foul is called on Andrew Rivera, his first of the night. All 9 of Carney's first half points came in the second quarter. He went on a nice run early in that period to start to bring North Attleboro back into the game. Makes the first and misses the second to bring the score to 30-19. Tim Coet here on the call with you for our first Scarlet Hawks Athletics of the new year. Patrick Garapi, our director and sideline camera operator tonight, and Milford TV intern Jack Rika manning our main game camera. CJ Farrell now at the free throw line after Carney was called for his third foul. So CJ Farrell now up to 7 points in the game after 2 successful free throws. North Attleboro losing that dribble over the middle of the floor, but able to get it back with a nice feed forward to Ryan Bannon, who picks up his first bucket of the game. Milford back out there with their original starting 5. Nicarujo doing some dirty work down low. Now loses control. North Attleboro gets it back. Some contact at midcourt sends Carney down to the floor yet again. And CJ Farrell gets called for that foul. So 2 early team fouls here in the first minute of the second half for the Scarlet Hawks. And they wave off the shot as Aiden Delaney gets called for the traveling violation. Milford lead at 11. Rivera staying calm, guarded closely by Chase Rizzoli, and now it's back outside for Farrell. Nice vision to find a wide open Nicarujo under the basket. And he puts in an uncontested shot. There's the first points of the night for Arujo. And that sends us into the first time out of the second half. Clock stopped at 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go here in quarter number 3. A lot of games on tap here now with the holidays out of the way. A busy schedule for the next essentially 2 months of the season. After Milford wraps up this game tonight, they'll be on the road for their next one, coming up next week on January 10th against Canton, before coming back for 3 straight home games. They'll be home on January 13th against King Philip, and then again on the 17th against Mansfield, and then the 20th against the Taunton Tigers. So 3 quality opponents there. That will certainly be a good test for the Scarlet Hawks. King Philip right now at 3-2 on the season. Mansfield a perfect 6-0 down in Davenport division play, and the Taunton Tigers at 4-1 on the season. So quality opponents all the way around on that 3-game home swing. We're going to try to squeeze in as many of those games as we can. We'll start to get some more details out there for our coverage schedule moving forward for the rest of the month of January. We'll try to get that out to you next week. I believe our next game coverage after today will be that matchup against King Philip a week from tonight, as the teams resume out of the timeout, and Johnny Obachowski drops in a 3-pointer. He doubles his point total in the game. Rivera and Farrell. Joey Buckley back out onto the floor, finds Gus Catino. Farrell takes the shot from 3, no good, and Obachowski pulls down the defensive board. Now a good pass out to Frizzoli. Frizzoli again can't get around Luca Testa. They free up Carney for the outside shot that does not go. And now Testa, with a full head of steam, goes all the way in and gets the good roll. And that's Testa's first point since the first quarter. He dropped 10 first quarter points, then did not score in the second quarter, but back to work here with a nice bucket to give Milford a 36-24 lead. Looked like Milford got a hand on that shot from Carney on the way up. Eventually, Delaney able to fight for the rebound and picks up the contact. Looks like they'll call the foul on Catino. Indeed, that's his first foul. And right now, Coach Seaver is calling on the Jungle to start to make their presence felt. It's been relatively quiet. And Coach Seaver still asking for more volume out of the crowd. As Delaney drops in the free throws. And it's down to an 11-point lead. And Milford able to answer right back, courtesy of Catino. Luca Testa draws the charge. Always gets a big cheer here. A lot of times we'll hear the Seaver special chant after an offensive foul. But it's been a little bit more of a docile student section than we're used to seeing here in Milford. Joey Buckley just a little bit offline on that shot attempt. Back into the hands of Carney. 4.5 minutes remain in the third quarter. A 13-point lead for Milford as Catino comes up the floor in transition. Farrell sends it into the corner for Rivera. And the shot won't go, but Joey Buckley ends up with the offensive rebound. And now Rivera's going to have that shot waved off as he lowers the shoulder and ends up getting called for the offensive foul. Quickly, we want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in live to this coverage tonight. Once again, our varsity basketball coverage streaming live on our YouTube page. We've got a good crowd tuned in for the game tonight, so happy to have you with us, as always. Giving equal love to our hometown Milford fans, as well as any visiting fans who might be tuned into the live stream tonight. So if you're North Attleboro fans checking out the coverage, welcome. It's been a tough start to the season for North Attleboro, giving it a gritty effort here tonight. Milford went on a 9-0 run to open the game, and they've been able to maintain a lead throughout to this point. North Attleboro played a wild one their last time out. They haven't played since December 29th. Played in non-conference action. That's a long 2 for Giovanni Carney. So perhaps we'll get into some of the recent action for North Attleboro at our next stoppage of play. 3:41 to go as it's back down to an 11-point Milford lead. Quick passes around the perimeter. Now it's Rivera trying to cut his way in and instead absorbs the foul. They call it on Obachowski. 16 fouls for Milford, now 3 for North. A fresh shot clock for Milford with less than 3.5 to go. Only using a couple of seconds of that shot clock before an errant 3-ball from Coutinho. And Coach Mulcairn's now active on the north sideline, wanting to see his team perhaps trim this lead, I should say, down to single digits. Milford's had this lead hovered around about a 10 to 12 point margin through the majority of the night. Long feed ahead to Testa, and he gets hacked. Foul called on Jack Munley, number 44 for the Rocketeers, his first foul. Testa makes his first free throw. Milford now shooting 7 of 10 from the line in this game so far. North keeping it out on the perimeter. Eventually, the shot for Obachowski is short, and now Farrell flies up the far sideline. And eventually into the near corner for Testa. And that 3-ball clanks off the rim, but Farrell comes away with the rebound and is then fouled. That pauses the clock at 2:26. Another foul on Munley. And bounce pass looped into Coutinho. Testa back to Rivera. Rivera loses the dribble. Now the ball loose on the floor. Munley comes up with it. And now it's Rivera back. A step on the defense. Gets the shot. And a chance for a 3-point play. It's been a little bit of a quieter night for Andrew Rivera so far. Andrew Rivera has been Milford's leading scorer through the young season so far, averaging 15.7 points a game. Does finish off the 3-point play, so now up to 9 points. That was his first bucket here in the second half, as we are now under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Coutinho gets called for the foul, drawing the ire of Coach Seaver on the sidelines. Coach Mulcairns is going to bring Austin Clemente off the bench, replacing Obachowski, who was able to give the team a bit of a lift. Dropped in a 3 earlier in this quarter. Jack Munley at the free throw line knocks down his first, gets himself on the score sheet. Coutinho, meanwhile, has 3 fouls. Munley knocks down both free throws. North has done well at the free throw line. They've knocked down 7 of 8. Here's Coutinho, and getting a little redemption, knocking down the 3. Up to 5 points in this third quarter, 8 points for the game. And North Attleboro calls for the timeout, as the clock is now paused at 1 minute and 21 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The lead has expanded out to 16 points now for the Scarlet Hawks. So this will give us a chance to look back at that recent activity for North Attleboro. Again, last in action in a non-conference game against East Bridgewater. North was down early in that game. They rallied late in the third quarter. They went on an extensive run and ended up building an 8-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, but then East Bridgewater ended up closing out the game on a 15-4 run of their own, and they ended up walking away with a 48-45 victory. So some big-time momentum swings in that game as North Attleboro was denied their first victory of the season. Other final scores for North so far on the year: they fell to Mansfield back on December 20th by a final score of 50-33. They lost on the road to the Taunton Tigers back on December 16th by a final score of 69-51, and they dropped their season opener on December 13th on the road against Canton by a final of 60-51. So it's only been one home game so far on the season for North Attleboro. So if you're a fan of the Rocketeers, hoping that some home cooking as the season goes on might help to get this team back on track. Carney guns it down low, and Milford draws another charge. It's Rivera, as the offensive foul is called on Ryan Bannon. And that pass from Farrell, nobody home to receive it. Bannon takes it over. The shot from Munley is no good. Milford gets the defensive rebound, and now back up the floor with 42 seconds until the conclusion of the third quarter. Farrell, hot pass down low to Testa, and now back outside for Rivera. And now Rivera will take the shot up top, drills the three. 6 points in this third quarter for Rivera. Out to contest Carney. Good help defense underneath the basket for Farrell. Now it's Hanowich trying to bank it off the glass, no good. Bannon there for the putback. 6 seconds to go for Milford to try to put in one more bucket. It's Rivera to the basket, hesitates, can't get the shot, but will go to the free throw line with the clock now sitting at 1.9 seconds remaining. That's Rivera's first miss from the free throw line tonight. He's gone 4 out of 5, and that is the conclusion now of the third quarter. And so Milford will carry a 49-31 lead into the final 8 minutes. We'll get that fourth quarter started after just a very quick timeout. Coverage continues next right here on Milford TV. 8 minutes remaining in this one as the fourth quarter gets started. Milford leading North Attleboro 49-31. Milford has led throughout this game so far. It's now an even 20-point lead. Wachowski back out there, kicks it out to Delaney. And so that was Andrew Rivera picking right back up where he left off with that first bucket here in the fourth quarter. And now all of a sudden up to 15 points in the game, so quiet no more. Delaney misses the free throw attempt. Four fouls now on Gus Catino. As Soares misses from three, collects his own rebound, and puts it in for two. This is the second year in a row these teams have met up in the regular season here in the Milford gym. They ended up playing a close game here last season, a game that North Attleboro led throughout. Milford cut it to a one-possession game late. They trailed by 3 in the final seconds, and Milford actually had 2 looks in their final possession of the night to try to tie the game and force overtime. But unfortunately came up just short. North Attleboro with a 3-point margin of victory. And Milford in position to put this one in the win column if they can close out. Milford couldn't draw the charge that time, but no bucket for North. Now here's Zagami from 3. Wyatt with just a single point here on the night. Still looking for his outside shooting to get hot. Giovanni Carney puts one in for the visitors. Lead at 18. Slick pass finds Soares. He cuts through 2 defenders. Can't get the finish at the rim. Delaney now surveying his options, finds Ferzoli at the top of the key. Now Obachowski, a little reverse lay-in, doesn't go. Rebound for Nick Arujo. Now Buckley looked like he might have been trying to send that ball out of bounds off the foot of a North Attleboro defender, but it stayed on the floor for the North turnover. They couldn't convert it into points on the other end. Another Arujo rebound. A little bit of sloppy play in this last sequence. Still 5 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. A Milford lead of 18 points. Pretty sizable group of alumni assembled behind the Milford bench taking in this game. Many of the Milford alumni still in the final days of their winter break before returning to college. That pass intercepted by North. Obachowski able to get around Soares, but again cannot finish. Now it's Testa. A lot of misses on both ends of the floor. Carney now tries to scoop it up and in. He does. "16 points on the night now for Giovanni Carney. The Milford lead at 16 as timeout is called on the floor with 4 minutes and 27 seconds to go. So look through some of the recent meetings between these two schools. It's been fairly competitive, a lot of close matchups recently. As we mentioned, that game last season, North Attleboro with a 53-50 victory. These teams did not match up in the 2020-2021 season, as that was the season with enhanced COVID restrictions. We only saw play within divisions. In 2019-2020 season, Milford earned a 56-46 victory. It was North Attleboro with a 1-point margin of victory in a 53-52 win in the 2018-2019 season. So again, it's been fairly even play. Milford overall in the last 8 head-to-head meetings has a 5-3 edge. That dates back to the 2015-2016 season. So looking for their 6th head-to-head victory in recent seasons here tonight. Well on their way. Back out of the timeout with a little over 4 minutes remaining. Testa able to hang on to that ball with North Attleboro in pursuit. Testa loose for the shot. That is short. Arujo down on the floor, able to send the rebound in the direction of Zagami, who finishes at the rim. All of that made possible with a max effort rebound from Nick Arujo. And Zagami now pulls down a defensive rebound. Milford leading now 55-37. Soares thinking about the long three, takes a peek at his head coach, and decides clock management might be the more prudent call. Less than 3.5 minutes to go now. Shot clock now down to 6 seconds. Soares cutting towards the basket. And Milford called for the offensive foul. Really glowing praise for Nick Arujo from Coach Seaver. The quote from Coach Seaver: does all the dirty work for us. A-plus kid who I cannot say enough good things about. It's high praise from the head coach describing the gritty effort from Nick Arujo, who has really been a heart and soul player now through 2 sports seasons here in Milford. Was a tremendous asset both on the field and off the field with his leadership and playmaking ability for the football team. And now bringing that same spark here onto the basketball court. Free throws coming up here for North Attleboro's Ryan Bannon after the foul was called on Gus Catino. He is now a spectator with 5 fouls. The lead for Milford is 17. 2:54 on the game clock. Farrell takes his time, monitored by Austin Clemente. Now it's Testa. Obachowski providing the defense. Now Farrell gets loose. Nice play to the basket, but doesn't get the finish. Milford has shown some good patience throughout this night, waiting for some quality shots to develop. There, a quality shot from Clemente. That's his first bucket of the night, puts it in from 3-point territory and cuts it to a 55-41 score. So the lead now back down to 14. It had been hovering closer to that 18 to 20 point range through much of this 4th quarter. Not much time left now, just a tick under 2 minutes, as North Attleboro has strung a couple of buckets together. Into the corner now for CJ Farrell. Count it for 3. That's a big bucket to keep this game at a more comfortable margin. Now a deep three for North Attleboro is short. Clemente grabs his own rebound and then gets fouled. Clemente now from the free throw line after the foul was called on Joey Buckley. Less than 90 seconds to go now. Testa from three, no good. But CJ Farrell in control of the rebound. And so we talked about it earlier in the night. Milford trying to break into the win column for the first time this season against a Hockomock League opponent. And they will do it here tonight, as CJ Farrell that time misses from the corner. And inside of the final minute of this basketball game tonight, North releases the three, it's no good. Delaney fights for the rebound and then eventually gives way to Obachowski, who puts in a late North Attleboro bucket. About 4 seconds difference between shot clock and game clock as that ball is knocked loose by Hanowich. Rivera collects it back in, cuts inside, his shot is no good. Rebound goes to Johnny Obachowski. And a chance to set the feet from three-point territory for Clemente, but no good on the shot. And now the final 10 seconds will tick down as Rivera dribbles the ball into the front court. And this is going to put the finishing touches on a quality victory for the Scarlet Hawks here tonight as they come in with a 500 record. They'll jump over the 500 mark as they defeat North Attleboro by a final score of 58-44. And so with that victory, Milford again over the 500 mark now for the first time this season. They are 4-3, and they cash in their first Hockomock League victory of the season, now 1-3 against Hawk opponents. North Attleboro, meanwhile, the search will continue for their first victory of the season. They fall to 0-5. And so as we mentioned, Milford's next game of the season will come on Tuesday of next week on the road against the Canton Bulldogs. Our next coverage here for Scarlet Hawks Athletics will be 1 week from tonight, when we're back here once again for more coverage of this varsity boys basketball team as they will be in action against the visiting King Philip Warriors. So that is when we will have you covered next. In the meantime, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand for the coverage tonight. Our director is Patrick Garapi, and our camera operator is Milford TV intern Jack Rica, and I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 58-44, Milford defeats North Attleboro. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.